Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The inaugural session of the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture will be commenced shortly. Please be at your seats. morning, ladies and gentlemen. The inaugural session of the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture will be commenced shortly. Please be at your seats. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The inaugural session of the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture will be commenced shortly. Please be at your seats. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The inaugural session of the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture will be commenced shortly. Please be at your seats. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremonial procession carrying the distinguished guest is reaching the hall. We kindly request you to stand up to receive the ceremonial procession. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremonial procession carrying the distinguished guest is reaching the hall. We kindly request you to stand up to receive the ceremonial procession. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremonial procession carrying the distinguished guest is reaching the hall. We kindly request you to stand up to receive the ceremonial procession. Ladies and gentlemen, the ceremonial procession carrying the distinguished guest is reaching the hall. We kindly request you to stand up to receive the ceremonial procession.
Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the organizing committee, we warmly welcome you for the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya.
The Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture has always been an exciting and rewarding platform for the postgraduate researchers. Today, the Annual Congress marks an important milestone in its history, reaching its 35th anniversary.
The Annual Congress is the main event in the academic calendar of the PGIA, which provides a platform for academia and researchers to present and discuss latest research in all agriculture disciplines and allied sciences. The PGIA was established in 1975 with the main objective of developing in-country capacity for postgraduate education in agriculture and to provide appropriately trained scientific personnel for a rapidly expanding agricultural sector of the country. Over the past 4 decades, the PGIA has emerged as the center of excellence in agriculture postgraduate education.
Giving way to tradition, the 35th Annual Congress of PGIA will commence with lighting of the oil lamp. We cordially invite
representing the chief guest of the 35th Annual Congress of PGIA, Ms. Deborah Moselle, Deputy Mission Director, U.S. Aid Mission for Sri Lanka and the Maldives.
The keynote speaker, Professor Gordon Gow, Acting Director of the Media and Technology Studies Unit, University of Alberta.
Professor M.D. Lamavansa, Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya.
Professor Terence Madhujit, Deputy Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya.
Professor C. M.B. Dematavava, the Director, Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya.
Professor Shamla Kumar, the Acting Dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya.
Professor Varshida Andeniya, the Congress Coordinator 2023.
Dr. S.M.M. Samarakon, Chief Executive Officer, Kurunagala Plantations Limited, representing PGI alumni.
Mr. K.A.B. Damunupala, Deputy Registrar, Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture.
Ms. K.A.I.S. Ranasinghe, Senior Assistant Bursar, Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture.
And Mr. H.A.I.M. Navaratna, the President, Postgraduate Agriculture Students Association. Thank you. Now we kindly invite the following dignitaries to the head table: Ms. Deborah Mosel, Professor Gordon Gao, Professor M.D. Lamawansa, Professor C.M.B. Dematavavel, Professor Shamala Kumar, Professor Varshidan Deniya, and Mr. H.A.I.M. Navaratna. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we now commence the proceedings of the inaugural session of the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture. This session is chaired by Professor C.M.B. Dematavavel, Director, Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, and a very good morning to all of you joining us today on ground and via the YouTube online. What you are witnessing here, ladies and gentlemen, today is the PGIA staging the annual Congress for the 35th time consecutively since 1989. We have some former the coordinators in 1990s, starting with Professor Tatil, Professor Deepthi Bandar, and all these people are here today. So we are proudly staging this one as the oldest PG institute in the country, and only national institute dedicated exclusively for postgraduate education and training in agriculture. First of all, let me welcome all of you so warmly for the 35th Annual PGIA Congress. The organizing the PGIA Congress is a year-long process, starting with the election of a new Congress coordinator at the beginning of the new year. This year's unanimous election by the organizing committee was Professor Varshidan Deniya from the Department of Soil Science and the Board of Study in Soil Science of the PGIA. The dawn of the year 2023 brought actually new challenges to the PGIA with this national economic crisis that we all know, followed by budget cuts and new tax policies. Fortunately, Professor Dandenia was very experienced and ready for that challenge. She had been the chairperson of the sessions and registration committees of the annual Congress in the previous year, and she also was the coordinator of the undergraduate, the research symposium of Faculty of Agriculture force. And so that with that experience, and with this another well-experienced group of volunteers coming in from the last year, with some enthusiastic newcomers, made this winning combination of an organizing committee. And they worked very methodically throughout this year, handling the Congress activities as well as the conference proceedings and the manuscripts for the Tropical Agriculture Research Journal, which is the official journal of the PGIA, in spite of all these challenges thrown at them by the current crisis of the country. And what you all witness here today is how well that event has been organized. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all join our hands in inviting Professor Varshidan Deniya to tell us the story about this year's annual Congress. Over to you, Varshi.
Thank you very much, sir. Very good morning to all of you. The chairperson, Professor C.M.B. Dematavavel, the director of Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Ms. Deborah Mosel, the deputy mission director of USAID Missions for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Professor M.D. Lamavansha, the vice chancellor, University of Peradeniya, Professor Shamala Kumar, the acting dean of Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, Professor Gordon Go, the keynote speaker of the annual Congress, Mr. Ishan Navaratna, the President of the Postgraduate Agriculture Students Association, PASA, distinguished invitees, dear colleagues, students, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the organizing committee, I warmly welcome all of you for the 35th Annual Congress of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture. Since its inception in 1989, the annual Congress has gradually evolved into the main glamorous event of the PGIA and has become a main event in the annual calendar of the university. The annual Congress provides a platform for our postgraduate students to present, discuss, and debate the key findings of their postgraduate research in agriculture and allied disciplines. And also, it provides an opportunity for the students to blend with local and international professionals and showcase their talents, extend their networks, and jointly explore current and future research directions. We all know that agriculture has gained an unprecedented importance than ever today due to the necessity of assuring food security of the nation amidst many challenges presented by climate change, socio-political instabilities, fuel crises, pandemics all around the world. In this context, postgraduate research in the field of agriculture and allied fields towards economic development will be deliberated at this Congress today. So we have selected 38 manuscripts in the fields of agriculture and allied fields towards economic development, like related to this our theme. Among 44 submissions we received through a rigorous review process. As the pioneer postgraduate education institute in agriculture in Sri Lanka, the PGIA is dedicated to strengthen the connection between tertiary education and the needs of the country. And accordingly, this year we have organized 4 pre-Congress workshops on different topics. 3 workshops were conducted related to generating good quality data from field experiments and statistical analysis of data targeting postgraduate students, researchers, and especially the executives from private and public sectors. The 4th pre-Congress workshop on enhancing the quality of agricultural research with community engagement and involvement was conducted in collaboration with the Institute for Research and Development in Health and Social Care, which reached a wider audience. There, the audience included undergraduate and postgraduate students, researchers, academia, medical professionals, and senior executives of different institutions around the country, and this event was featured in mass media as well. Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, strengthening international cooperation is essential for the world to navigate through these challenging times we are facing. So as the chief guest of the 35th Annual Congress, we have invited Mr. Gabriel Grove, the Mission Director of USAID Missions for Sri Lanka and Maldives. However, due to unavoidable circumstances, Mr. Grove is unable to attend the Congress in person, but he kindly arranged his office represented here today. So, and also he sent a message to the audience, which we will be playing later. So representing his office, we warmly welcome Ms. Deborah Mosel, the Deputy Mission Director of USAID Missions for Sri Lanka and Maldives, today with us. We warmly welcome you, ma'am. And we have Professor M.D. Lamavansha, the Vice Chancellor of University of Peradeniya, Professor C.M.B. Dematavava, the Director of Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, and Professor Shamala Kumar, the Acting Dean of Faculty of Agriculture. I greatly appreciate your presence and I warmly welcome you all, and thank you for the cooperation you have provided to stage this event today. And each year we invite eminent scientists in the fields of agriculture to deliver invited presentations. I warmly welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Gordon Go from Canada, and the 2 invited speakers, Professor Veni Gunpat from Trinidad and Dr. Gauthami Veerakorn from United Kingdom, who will deliver their insightful speeches to enlighten the audience. And Mr. Ishan Navaratna, the President of Postgraduate Agriculture Students Association, PASA, and all the office bearers of PASA, I warmly welcome you. Distinguished guests, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Sir, Deans of the faculties, Directors of the institutes, all other invitees, all academia, international and local participants and presenters, students, ladies and gentlemen. I warmly welcome you to the PGIA Annual Congress 2023. To reduce the paper waste and be more environmental friendly, we are using electronic media and communication wherever possible. So accordingly, the program and the proceedings have been shared with you through email and also available in the Congress website. Due to various challenges we had to face today, the annual Congress was held mainly as an online activity during the past 3 consecutive years. This year, we are expecting about 100 participants would attend the Congress activities on ground. And to reach a wider community, we are live streaming the event in YouTube and also arrange Zoom links for all the sessions. So let us strive forward embracing all these challenges. I wish you all a fruitful Congress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Dandeni, and congratulations to you as well as the whole organizing committee on the job well done. Ladies and gentlemen, an academic institution is defined by its integral component of the student body. Without a student body, this kind of an educational institution will not exist. The Postgraduate Agriculture Student Association, we call as PASA, P-A-S-A, is the official student organization of the PGIA. It has this crucial role of bringing the student community together in making this learning environment conducive and enjoyable, with a view of sort of social commitment and networking as well. As we transferred from online mode to the on-ground mode recently, an AGM was held recently with a new group of office bearers now in power as the PASA. It's great to see that they also take part in this on-ground organizing activities on the Congress so enthusiastically, just after taking their posts. Ladies and gentlemen, let's cordially invite Mr. Ishan Navratna, the President of PASA, to address the gathering, representing all student community of the PGIA. Over to you, Ishan.
Thank you, sir. The chairperson, Professor CMB Dematavawa, the director of Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. Ms. Deborah Mosel, the deputy mission director, USAID Mission for Sri Lanka and Maldives. Professor MD Lamavansa, the vice chancellor, University of Peradeniya. Professor Shamala Kumar, the acting dean, Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. Professor Gordon Gow, the keynote speaker of the annual Congress. Professor Varshi Dandeniya, the coordinator of 35th Annual Congress. All the distinguished invitees, ladies and gentlemen. It is my pleasure and privilege to attend the 35th Annual Congress of PGIA representing the Postgraduate Agriculture Student Association. The Annual Congress is an eagerly awaited event by our membership, and it is most prestigious event of the PGIA annual calendar. I would like to say a few words about the Postgraduate Student Association, widely known as PASA. PASA is a student body of the PGIA consisting of all the postgraduate students who are reading for their master's and doctoral degrees. Our membership represents a variety of fields of studies in agriculture and allied science. In front of this eager audience, research students representing 11 boards of studies will present their findings for the student presenters from PGIA and other local and international postgraduate institutes. It will be an important milestone in their academic career. By organizing a variety of social and group activities all year long, PASA also fosters student creativity and unity. PASA a very colorful history of providing social services, including blood donation campaign and PGIA Day in the past. So, ladies and gentlemen, the PGIA Annual Congress is without a doubt one of the most represented scientific gathering in our nation, advancing scientific research in agriculture and related field. Participating in and organizing such a scientific forum will benefit the student body in many ways. In the first place, it helps students keep up to date and expand their knowledge. Research is a crucial part for the academic community's progress. By participating in the Congress, students would have a chance to hear from distinguished scientists and discover the most recent findings in their domains. Secondly, the PGIA Annual Congress offers students a fantastic chance to advance their soft skills. Every year, the PGIA Congress Organizing Committee hosts a number of workshops to assist students develop their soft skills. We also appreciate the effort of all coordinators and resource persons. Thirdly, the Congress paved the way for the student to be a part of scientific community by sharing valuable research findings. Doing a research presentation in front of scientific community is one of the challenges that we face as a student. We as a student at PGIA believes that through a high quality scientific communication, we would be proudly recognized in the scientific world. So let me take this opportunity to pay our sincere gratitude for the director, PGIA, and all the members of academic staff for giving this valuable opportunity for students. And I hope the student will get maximum benefit from the prestigious scientific forum. So, ladies and gentlemen, finally, I would like to thank the Congress coordinator and the organizing committee of the PGIA Annual Congress 2023 on behalf of all PGIA students for their tremendous efforts in successfully planning and executing this event. Finally, I wish you all a productive day. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ishan and the whole group for the coming here very actively and enjoying as well as helping the organizing of the PGIA, the Congress activities. We are planning, we could not hold the PGIA day, the PGIA night, and the MBA day and the MBA night for quite a while because of these COVID restrictions and all these things. And I think now we are ready to go on. These days it is raining, but I hope the PASA would take the leadership in fundraising and organizing this whole activity so that we can establish the network of 1,700 students we have at this moment virtually. Thank you very much. The next invitation is for the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, although the PGIA was formally established as a national institute now, it originated as the postgraduate arm of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya in late 70s. Even today, all the internal members of the 11 boards of study and the board of management are appointed by the Faculty Board of Agriculture. Most of these local and international research grants and the laboratory facilities and all the other infrastructure for the postgraduate research are borne by the Faculty of Agriculture and its academic staff members, having like about over 90 PhDs and with professors and senior professors. The Dean of the Faculty is the chairperson right now, Professor Sarath Kodituaku, in the Audit and Management Committee of the PGIA, and it's a member of the Finance Committee, the Coordinating Committee, and the Board of Management of the PGIA. It's an integral part. Professor Sarath Kodituaku has been supporting us quite a lot, and right now he is in the USA on an official tour with several other teaching panel members. Like Professor Kodituaku, Professor Shyam Kumar as well, the acting dean of the faculty has also been heavily involved throughout these years in the development and the continuation of the MBA program of the PGIA for many, many years. While thanking for all the contributions made by Professor Kodituaku and Professor Shyamala Kumar to the PGIA, I would like to cordially invite the acting dean of the faculty, Professor Shyamala Kumar, to address the gathering. Over to you, Professor.
Thank you. Good morning, the chairperson, Professor CMB Dematavava, the Director of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. Ms. Deborah Mossel, the Deputy Mission Director, USAID, Mission for Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Professor M.D. Lamavansa, the Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya. Professor Gordon Go, the keynote speaker of the Annual Congress. Professor Varshi Danderia, colleague of the PGIA, coordinator of the PGIA Congress 2023. I was thinking a fond colleague, that's why I said colleague. Mr. Nishan Navaratna, the president of PASA. Also distinguished invitees, my colleagues, students, and the rest of us who fondly yearn for our student days, all of you, thank you for this opportunity to speak. On behalf of the Faculty of Agriculture at this, the 35th Annual Congress of the PGIA. Professor Kodituaku, I know, would indeed be sad that he is missing this opportunity to speak at the PGIA Congress, and I hope that I will do him justice. I want to thank the organizers of the Congress for inviting me to speak, but I have to say that it seems almost disingenuous for the simple reason that it's very difficult to pinpoint where the faculty ends and the PGIA begins. And I'm of course not referring simply to the structures that Professor Dematavava mentioned, but also there is a culture that connects us, that coalesces us. And even the research that we will be speaking of today, that we'll be digesting and debating, will be from that partnership that binds us as the faculty and the PGIA. Therefore, it is truly a symbiotic relationship that I think is particularly fitting to celebrate during this year, which is also the faculty's Diamond Jubilee. This partnership sometimes enriches and sometimes is tense and frayed. But I think that is a reflection of academic research as well. All research begins with tension, the unknown, and an attempt to critically examine the creation of new insights and new thought, new understanding. And as we know, sometimes to get through that tension can be dangerous. And I think that danger is what is the excitement of research and academic scholarship. That when we feel that trepidation and when we feel scared, that is indeed a place that we want to be when we are doing research. Because when we do research, we are of course replacing some other body or sense of what the world is. And when we do that, there are people who are invested in that. And it is our job to question that and maybe provide a more fitting understanding, a more insightful understanding of the world. The PGIA as a platform that also brings others from the public sector, other educational institutes, private and non-government organizations, allows us to do this and to disseminate this and to discuss this and debate this at a broader level, so that the PGIA faculty partnership creates something even more beautiful, meaningful, and contributory. At this time of difficulty that we as a country faces, it is these connections that I think are particularly important to foster. Over the decades of the Congress, I want to bring up one other thing, and that is the idea of research as a process. So when we say there's been 35 years of research, that means 35 years in this process of research. And I think that is very important to nurture, that process of research. Because we are at a time where we are talking about impact factors, publication ratings, research as products. And I think there's a danger in that. Because when we do that, we don't realize that research is indeed a dialogue, a process of building on what we know, and collaborating and seeing the world in a, I mean, that is the essence, and that is how what we need to nurture. And the challenge is, how do we do that in this current ethos? So I think things like the PGIA Congress, which has gone on for years and years, provides that kind of platform for that kind of understanding of research. I congratulate the Congress coordinator, the organizing committee, and the director of the PGIA for what I know will be an amazing event. I am optimistic that, like previous congresses, this too will be something that will be memorable, exciting, and challenge our understanding of our fields. Thank you. And on behalf of the Faculty of Agriculture, I wish the 35th PGIA Annual Congress every success. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Professor Shamala, and thank you all the faculty members of the Faculty of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya, for helping the PGIA develop and sustain in this severe economic crisis we are facing today. Our Vice Chancellor, sir, the Chief Administrative Officer of the University, has to attend another important event as the chief guest. So we will move his speech on his request just ahead of the director's address. Ladies and gentlemen, I must mention, since the current Vice Chancellor, sir, took the office in the year 2021, while all the other PG directors were here, he made some deliberate efforts that we could feel on getting the PG Institute engaged more and more in the university development activities. He even invited the PG directors to the Vice Chancellor's advisory committee meetings, which had never happened before, and to the council meetings, even to make presentations on how those institutes, PG institutes, could contribute to the university ranking and in this whole integrated university strategic plan. Recently, he made a commitment, very recently, to hold routine meetings with the PG directors at least twice a month, in addition to the Vice Chancellor's advisory meetings, so to sort out all these administrative issues and to get our fullest support for the university development activities. Similar to mine, the present Vice Chancellor's 3-year term is, I think, going to end soon. Mine ends in January. And while thanking you for all your efforts, let's join all our hands in inviting Professor M.D. Lamount, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, to address the gathering.
Deborah Mosel, representing the chief guest, USAID, all the distinguished members of the head table, and distinguished members of the audience. Professor Demeteva, I have not thought of retiring yet. It's far away for me, and that is not on the agenda. Vatsy, thank you very much for organizing this one and also inviting to attend this very important event of the calendar of the PGIA. And Professor Kumar, I think you mentioned many good and relevant things from the evolution of the PGIA and to some of the current challenges that we face. As a university, we are proud and happy that the PGIA has come this far and standing tall among the postgraduate institutes and similar institutions in the country. And also, we are very pleased that the University of Peradeniya has been able to give the umbrella cover that is required for the PGIA to function. And especially, I thank, if there's any gain by PGIA, it is thanks to your faculty and of course contributed by many others. So you could be happy as well. I understand the contribution that you have made to education, research, and national development in agriculture in general, but more specifically in areas such as sustainable farming, crop diversification, and the innovative agro technologies, food security, to name few. Contemporary challenges have forced us to think innovatively. I'm glad that the Faculty of Agriculture and PGIA as an extension of it has stood to these challenges. These challenges, which are shared by policymakers and the funders related to agriculture, include expanding agriculture sector. It is true that you have achieved excellence, but the country needs a little bit more than the excellence to make the changes that is required to make the lives of our people better than what is today. We all are concerned about expanding our research and development culture. I know that you are in the forefront, but policymakers and all of us understand that there is need for us to do more, including in education. And in this regard, expectation of Peradeniya University is much larger than what you and I think in this audience. The country expects us to lead in many fronts. Agriculture is one of those areas. And bringing the challenges back to home, of course, we have got financial challenges, how to sustain ourselves. And I must mention, Deborah, that during the crisis, and we have shown as a university, including PG institutes, our resilience. I'm thankful to the all stakeholders, especially internal staff, for taking these challenges and how much deans are absorbing this pressure coming from the departments to conduct the academic research and the other administrative work of their divisions under trying conditions. And we conduct our academic and research programs with only 75% of academic staff and doing more than 100% of work. So I salute the staff in general and the academic staff in particular for helping to navigate our university and this country during last 2-3 years. While it is so, we all understand, as I mentioned earlier, the need to expand and do better. These things include that what we discuss day in, day out. How do we expand our courses both in quantity and quality? How do we get more specifically related to the PG institutes, the more postgraduates, PhDs and MPhils? And the university's potential is not what we are right now. And there is more that this country needs, and the more we can do to expand. Especially the PG institutes, therefore, have a responsibility, especially in the 4 faculties that 4 disciplines that we have established postgraduate institutes to take that lead, without which the expectations cannot be met. You spoke about collaboration, and then all the previous speakers actually did touch on that aspect, and expanding more into multidisciplinary research, both within the institution, that is the university, not just between the Faculty of Agriculture and the PGIA, but there is much larger research community for us to foster multidisciplinary research. We have taken certain steps, but this is not the time for me to elaborate on all that. We are all talking about the need and also the mechanisms to improve international collaboration, international students. Some PG institutes like PGIS has already started getting foreign students, and the flexibility that a university, the giant that giant university that needs to address, and the diversity required, and addressing ongoing challenges and the more challenges to come are cornerstones of our responsibilities and duties to this country. And these challenges that we face are common to the Faculty of Agriculture, PGIA, and the university in general. And that is why it is important for all of us, especially the PGIA and the Faculty of Agriculture and the other similar divisions of this university, to work together and harmoniously, for which the university gives you the umbrella cover to do that. And we spoke about the hazy boundaries between the evolution of PGIA and the Faculty of Agriculture. It remains so. This haziness is not an uncertainty, but the haziness that has allowed to share a lot of goodwills between the 2 premier academic organizations in the country. If you look at the structure that has been established for the management, the administration of the PG institutes, and it allows, and also it expects those institutes to work very closely with the relevant faculties under the guidance and the umbrella of the University of Peradeniya, for which, for you to do that, it gives the academic recognitions and whatever the other facilities that you need. Looking at the sharing resources, collaboration, human resources, the physical space, the research, all that needs combined effort. And there is no limit for us to continue to understand the importance of collaborating, as I said earlier, to expand our university profile. If, as Professor Demetavava said, the university administration has to take extra steps, and we are there for you. And in this regard, and looking at the challenges, and university academics, Deborah Mosel started talking about how do we plan for our future. It was some thought that it is not the best time for us to plan when we are going through difficult times, but the others feel this is the best time to plan, which they have done successfully. My hats off to them. Over the last 6 months, more than 80 academic staff members from all faculties And they made presentations to the council, PG directors, to the deans, and Professor Buddhi Marbe from your faculty and PGIA spearheaded this. And a lot of discussions and data collections and all that has culminated in what is known as centenary development plan for this university. We'll be reaching our centenary in 2042, only short 18 years to go. And elaborate plans have been made by these more than 80 academic staff members. And also, and recognizing the effort of academic staff, and also recognizing the potential of the university and considering its past, the government has taken a bold step to support us to reach the goals that we want to reach in 2042. It was obvious in the budget statement Honorable President made in the Parliament a few days ago. And along with it comes the further challenges and the opportunities, more than challenges, for us to diversify and be more flexible and to improve our profile, and including seeking funds for our development from non-state sector. I know that we have the ability to do that, and university central administration certainly will do its best to satisfy the needs of the individual divisions of the university so that collectively we can achieve what we can achieve. Thank you very much indeed for the invitation.
Thank you very much, the Vice Chancellor, for all the support that you have given during the last 3 years. And thank you very much for staying with us while you have to be the chief guest in another event right now. Thank you, Vice Chancellor, sir, once again. And I would like to invite Professor Terence Majujit, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya, who is also a very valuable and contributing member in the Board of Study in Animal Science, to represent the Vice Chancellor, sir, at the head table for the proceedings. The next speech is from the director himself, so please allow me to move to the podium. Okay, a very good morning to all of you once again. Ms. Deborah Mosel, the Deputy Mission Director of USAID for Sri Lanka and Maldives, and the Chief Guest of the 35th Annual Congress of PGIA. Professor Terence Majujit, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of the University of Peradeniya. Professor Shamala Kumar, Acting Dean of the Faculty of Agriculture. Professor Gordon Gao, the keynote speaker of the Congress. We have Dr. S.M.M. Samrakong, the CEO of the Kurunegala Plantation Limited, one of the proud products of PGIA, and the distinguished alumnus of the 35th Annual PGIA Congress. Other invited foreign speakers who are here, all the deans of the faculties and their representatives who have attended, the directors of the postgraduate institutes, and director generals of the Department of Agriculture and the Department of Export Agriculture, the Director of Academic Planning, Professor Pushpa Kumara, Director of International Affairs, Professor Alas, former directors of the PGIA who are sitting in the front rows, the Board of Management and the teaching panel members of the PGIA, or the other invited guests, Professor Varshidandini, a long list, coordinator of the 35th Annual Congress, and the organizing committee, all chairpersons and judges of the sessions who are joining us on ground today. The Deputy Registrar, Senior Assistant Bursar, the Assistant Librarian, all the staff of PGIA watching up here and downstairs. The President of the Postgraduate Institute of Postgraduate Agriculture Students Association, all my colleagues, friends, international and local presenters, my dear students, ladies and gentlemen. After several years of conducting the annual Congress online with a minimum limited crowd permitted on ground, it's really heartwarming to see, I think for most of the lecturers as well, a full house of audience this year, including former directors of the PGIA, board of management members, teaching panel members, students, all the well-wishers, all gathered together in one place. This year, the 35th Annual Congress of the PGIA bears an emotionally significant milestone for me personally, as I am delivering the director's address for the 7th time and probably the last time. I remember delivering my first Congress address as the director in 2017 November, just 2 weeks after being elected as the director. Since then, it has been a greatly satisfying ride for 6 years for me, with the genuine support of the academic staff. Some were really supporting, and the non-academic staff, and the affectionate compliments from the students as well. We enjoy them. In the past, we used to look for 5-star hotels to hold the annual Congress. I think Professor Vadsi remembers, but you can see now this place has slowly been developing into a fully capable facility to handle such conferences of this nature without any kind of logistic hiccups, in spite of all these government constraints on capital development. When I look back, I will be always happy for being a small part of this remarkable history of the PGIA that has produced thousands and thousands of postgraduate students, postgraduate degree holders since 1976, contribute to the development of agriculture and all these allied sectors of the country and abroad in numerous ways. Even at present, we have over 1,700 students studying in this institute at any given time, although we cannot see them in one place at a time. During this recent economic turmoil, the University Council summoned the PG directors. Some of them are here. And so they were asking, especially from the PGIA director, what is the contribution the PGIA members have given to the development of the economy through proper agriculture policy development and planning? It's a fair question. The real answer about the contribution of the history of the PGIA is very long. I understand that many do not know that 2 of the former directors of the PGIA, the second director, the late Professor T. Yogaratnam, and the third director, Professor Y.D. Senanayake, were the pillars in 1970s during the Sirima Bandaranaike's government in formulation of 30-year plan, and later it was shortened to the 5-year plan within the Mahaveli scheme in the 70s. I think many knew, some of them know actually, that Professor Gunasena, the significant light-saving contributions made by another director of the PGIA. It's 1, 2, 3, 4th director of the PGIA. And even in the latter stages as a consultant to the Ministry of Agriculture and the Council for Agriculture Research Policy. Both Professor Gunasena and Professor Senanayake have been very supportive, and they have been very eagerly looking forward to participate in today's event personally, but excused at the last minute due to their ill health. Let's all wish them well. Dear Madam Chief Guest, long ago, those pioneering professors in early 80s and late 70s, they were able to connect the faculty, PGIA, and the US aid program and bring massive capacity building programs, which gave the opportunity for over 35 members, if I remember correctly, Professor Tattel, to obtain PhD degrees in the USA. The laboratory facilities, the equipment that they came up with from the different subject areas were enormous. I hope we could exploit similar opportunities today with the present USAID programs for future capacity building and human resource development in the faculties, which would be a great help for the faculty under this grave economic crisis that we are facing. Just 2 years ago, we brought to the annual Congress one of our proud PGIA alumni, the Secretary of the Ministry of Agriculture then, and a former Vice Chancellor, as a distinguished alumni speaker. And you can see the levels that the PGIA alumni are rising to. There are a group of professionals involved in the development and finalization of this national policy for agriculture were mainly as some prominent agriculture scientists who are, I'm proud to say, teaching panel members of the PGIA. The policy planning, the development, I think that documents are all ready. Implementation, on the other hand, is not in the hands of scientists. The Deputy Vice Chancellor, sir, when we look back retrospectively, we can be happy that in the recent past, we as one group have been able to formulate a university-wide strategic plan, and we completed that one. And we have been successful in our joint efforts in amalgamating all these different strategic plans of the PGIS, PGIHS, and the PGIA and the university together. The PG directors present here, Professor Peter Weller, Professor Samat Dharmaratna, they think they are proud to show that the comparative number of manuscripts published in high impact factor journals via the postgraduate research students and relative to those undergraduate research students, and how those figures have contributed to the present university ranking. We have a special advantage of doing 3-year or 4-year, 5-year, 6-year, up to 10 years of heavy advanced research and contributing to the massive innovations, discoveries, and patents. We are also proud the way the PG Institutes contributed to the last institutional review of University of Peradeniya, especially in the criteria number 7, postgraduate education, which helped eventually to obtain an A grade for the University of Peradeniya as a whole. I want to openly thank all the teaching panel members of the PGIA here who have come forward and contributed in the last review process in many different ways, in numerous capacities. The next challenge we are facing for us right now is the upcoming program reviews. Unlike the faculties with 2 or 3 or 4 degree programs, PGIS have 30 to 50 degree programs. With the introduction of the Sri Lanka qualification framework, the previous 30 Masters of Science programs of the PGIA have become 30 MScs and 30 Masters programs, with fallback options with 30 postgraduate diplomas and 30 postgraduate certificates. Reviewing all those programs is the biggest hurdle, I think, the next director and the next years to come. Currently, the curriculum reviews and the revisions are going on in all those programs through the boards of studies, 11 boards of study. I have always felt that we must move away from the offering of traditional subject-based degree programs, as the world is not divided strictly into these kind of subject areas like narrow fields like MSc in soil science, for example. Instead, we need degrees that address current global and local issues that produce graduates with holistic thinking. I'm glad to say that recently we have got the UGC approval for the latest program, MSc in agroecology. This is a cross-cutting program involving more than 4 boards of studies. And we have to think about, we have to change the rules of the PGIA in how one program is offering and how the lecture fee payments are going to be made based on the number of studies. I want to congratulate the team of the PGIA teachers. I cannot tell all the names, led by Professor Gamini Pushpakumara, who won the Erasmus funds and worked hard to develop this program involving 3 different countries and 6 different universities. I hope as an extension of this program, we would be able to establish the staff-student collaborations with those foreign universities, as well as the next stage as a natural evolution of these programs. Our next evolving MSc program right now is led by Professor Vijay Jayatilaka and the Board of Study in Agriculture Extension on MSc in Agriculture Education, which is designed mainly for the graduates who are advanced level teachers in agriculture. This is kind of similar to the science education programs running by the PGIS on the A-level science teachers. So this program is expected to have a huge demand with the Ministry of Education approval and the National the Education Commission, the approval that a huge demand from the A-level teachers in agriculture all over the island for the years to come. The acting dean, madam, so far we have purchased laboratory equipment of worth more than 30 million rupees and transferred to the Faculty of Agriculture based on the needs to fulfill just 2 years ago the essential needs of the faculty that we are trying to fulfill. Fortunately, the Board of Management is still unanimous in the decision for continuous strengthening of the research capacity of the faculty laboratories. However, the 0 budget allocations from the government which is likely to be the norm than the exception in the future, would be a serious challenge to the Board of Management in achieving that goal in a sustainable manner. These are some of these future challenges that the PGI have to face in the near future. So I would like to wind up and want to sincerely thank the organizing committee. I know personally how hard they have worked, headed by Professor Varshidandania, and congratulate sincerely on the job well done. Finally, for all the students who are selected for making presentations today, congratulations to all of you and your co-authors, and hope that you will win the best presentation awards at the closing ceremony and this afternoon, making this event forever memorable for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish this year's Congress a great success and a fruitful platform for scientific deliberations. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, the chief guest this year's annual Congress is the USAID Mission Director for Sri Lanka and Maldives, Mr. Gabriel Grau. Let me read his citation for you. Mr. Gabriel Grau is the USAID's Mission Director for Sri Lanka and Maldives. Mr. Grau most recently served as the Deputy Mission Director for the USAID mission to Afghanistan. In that role, he led the mission staffing and the program portfolios valued at US $1.6 billion with 210 total staff. Mr. Grau's main focus in Afghanistan was to help relocate and resettle 160 local staff and their families to start their new lives in the United States, to lead the design of the USAID's emergency assistance portfolio to help vulnerable Afghans with basic services, food security, and livelihood programming. Mr. Grau holds a master's degree in public affairs from University of Maryland and a bachelor's degree from University of New Mexico, actually New Mexico State, in international relations and international business. Mr. Grau started with the USAID in 2001 as the Presidential Management Intern, now called Presidential Management Fellow, and setting into the Development Credit Authority, where he spent 4 years structuring the financial transactions in Central and South America and in South and East Asia. Mr. Grau joined the Foreign Service in 2005 and spent most of his career serving in project design, economic growth, stabilization capacities in Barbados, Thailand, Bangladesh, Mozambique, Afghanistan, and Nicaragua. He started his career on the Hill as a member of the Congressman Donald Payne's office, staffing the Congressional Black Caucus, and subsequently moved into international financial consulting in the private sector. Mr. Grau also served in the Colombian military forces, deployed with the multinational force and observers in the Sinai, Egypt. Prior to joining USAID in Afghanistan, Mr. Grau served as the USAID Senior Development Advisor for the United States Central Command, providing strategic advice and guidance on humanitarian, stabilization, and development policies in the Middle East and the Central Asia regions. He ensured the agency equities were incorporated into military plans and strategies, and he grew and institutionalized USAID's presence at the Combined Command. At present, Mr. Grau is the USAID's Mission Director for Sri Lanka and the Maldives. Although Mr. Grau was waiting eagerly to attend the Congress, unfortunately he had to engage in an urgent diplomatic mission overseas the last minute. However, the Deputy Mission Director of the USA, Ms. Debbie Mosel, has kindly agreed to grace the occasion on his behalf. Before formally inviting Ms. Moses, let's see a small video clip sent by Mr. Grau for the Congress. That would be a very short one, and followed by the speech of Ms. Debbie Mosel.
Everyone, Vanakkam, Salam Alaikum, and good morning. Let me start by apologizing to all of you for not being able to be there in person. You are, of course, in the great hands of USAID's Deputy Mission Director, Debbie Mosel. But it really pains me to miss the opportunity to engage directly with each of you. Thank you for your continuous work towards modernizing the agriculture sector in Sri Lanka. I only want to say a few words and then pass the baton to Debbie. I'm sure you've already heard the words of Winston Churchill, never let a good crisis go to waste. Although last year's crisis was not a good crisis, it was a crisis nonetheless. And from this crisis was born many an opportunity to correct previous mistakes, to adjust policies, and to ensure the public leads restructuring efforts going forward. Agriculture is currently on the front lines as a sector that needs deep restructuring across the board, from farmer to table, as we say in the United States. A competitive market-based and private sector-driven agriculture sector that respects tradition and culture, but also embraces science, research, and technology is foundational to the country's future. The road ahead is difficult, but it's also a road that is necessary and that will require your unwavering participation as well as your advocacy to succeed. We at USAID remain committed to stand with you throughout this entire process. I wish all of you a very productive session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gabriel Gao. And we have the Ms. Debbie Mosel to represent the mission director. Let's join all our hands in coordinating the cordially inviting Ms. Debbie Mosel, the Deputy Mission Director of USAID for Sri Lanka and Maldives, to address the gathering. Over to you, Debbie.
Thank you. Vice Chancellor, who I believe is joining online, Deputy Vice Chancellor, Director Professor CMB Demetowewa, members of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture and Faculty of Agriculture, organizers of this Congress, distinguished guests. Aivan, Vanakam, Assalamu alaikum, good morning. Thank you for inviting me to the inauguration session of the 35th Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture Annual Congress. I am here today representing the United States Development Agency, USAID. A year ago, Sri Lanka faced one of its worst food crises. As the economy worsened, the World Food Programme and the Food and Agricultural Organization declared nearly 30% of Sri Lankans to be food insecure. Thanks to the government, private sector, academia, research institutes, donors, and everyone else for coming together to respond to that crisis. Looking back at all of this, we should ask ourselves a couple of very important questions for the future. Is the Sri Lankan agricultural sector fully prepared to withstand disruptive threats and still feed the nation? And how can the country further transform agriculture into an economic engine for growth? Part of the answer is the same as it has been for millennia: research. To prepare myself for this event, I did some of my own research. Okay, online research. I found a page on the traditional agricultural practices, and I was fascinated by what I saw. I knew that Sri Lanka's agricultural history goes back more than 2,500 years, but I learned a great deal about innovations that improved productivity and sustainability. Ancient farmers developed sophisticated irrigation systems that included massive water tanks that enabled large-scale production of paddy. They also invented the remarkable V-Bisa to store paddy with minimal spoilage. The V-Bisa design is on par or even superior to today's technology. The ingenuity and resourcefulness of Sri Lanka's people is clearly demonstrated by these achievements. The introduction and widespread use of these technologies enabled Sri Lanka's farmers to meet the growing needs of the country's people at that time. However, the demands on farmers to innovate and improve continue to grow. Increasing populations, changing climate and the effect on weather patterns, and growing consumer demand all feed the need for higher productivity and new technologies on farms. The key to addressing those challenges comes from harnessing the power of agricultural research. We can look back to Gregor Mendel's simple observations of pea plants that provided the first clues of the power of hybridization. Hybrid seeds led to high-yielding crops that increased production while reducing the amount of labor required. As the limits of hybridization became known, research into new fertilizers and pesticides enabled continued growth of agricultural productivity. Norman Borlaug won the 1970 Nobel Peace Prize for saving 2 billion people from starvation. However, continued research found flaws in the Green Revolution model. The intensive farming it enabled led to dramatic increases in greenhouse gas emissions and loss of biodiversity. Improved productivity serves no purpose when it comes at a cost of sustainable economic growth. The solution? More research. So it is important and timely that the Congress has chosen the theme of gearing agricultural research toward economic development for this year's event. We must consider that by 2050, the world's population is forecast to reach 10 billion people, and all of those people will need to be fed. Erratic and extreme weather patterns due to climate change will have devastating effects on crop yields. We saw that this year in Sri Lanka, with floods in the southwest and drought in the interior, depressing paddy field yields during the Yalla season. And governments facing increasing pressure on their budgets, and they must make difficult decisions on what to fund and how. The United States, through USAID, aims to support Sri Lanka in modernizing of its agricultural sector. Farmers must be market-driven and competitive and able to withstand disruptive challenges. Farmers need to be an economic engine propelling the country's growth. USAID for over 6 decades has been actively involved in supporting agricultural development and enhancing food security, reducing poverty, and promoting sustainable growth. USAID efforts have focused on introducing new technologies, supporting farming as a business, and assisting crop diversification. We have also provided needed inputs like fertilizer in times of crisis. During the food security crisis last year, USAID delivered $46 million worth of urea and triple superphosphate fertilizer to Sri Lankan paddy farmers to increase productivity in a time of emergency. In the wake of the crisis, Sri Lankans repeatedly questioned how will farmers survive the next planting seasons, and understanding that fertilizer subsidies help increase productivity in the short term, how can Sri Lanka's agricultural sector be more competitive without subsidies? These are important questions that need answers. As we look to our future strategy, we know it must be focused on moving the Sri Lanka agriculture system away from a subsidy-driven system to a market-driven system. While the Green Revolution provided significant and needed short-term gains, we are seeing the negative long-term effects. Subsidies also have important short-term gains, but at the cost of long-term development. Gearing agricultural research toward economic development is not an option anymore. It's an imperative. Short-term gains cannot come at the cost of long-term development. Addressing this complex issue needs everyone to be involved. The scientists breaking new ground in their fields, the private sector companies bringing those breakthroughs to market, and the governments enabling them to succeed. Bringing these actors together to promote knowledge sharing leverages their experience and expertise, and most importantly, their resources. The private sector can be a valuable partner as it seeks to maintain competitiveness in the market. Combining the new discoveries of agricultural research with private sector product development produces a virtuous circle. Successful products launches drive more research to discover more products. When we harness the incredible potential of agriculture research to drive economic development, we improve food security and create a better future for generations to come. Around the world, when innovations and advancements identified by agricultural research are put into place by governments and the private sector, they can transform agricultural sectors and feed the growing population. They can increase access to credit for farmers to invest in modern farming technologies and techniques, strengthen agricultural extension services to farmers to adopt modern and competitive farming practices, and they can improve access to market information, crop diversification, value chain development, and capacity building programs for farmers and agribusiness to enhance their competitiveness. This is what the United States, as a development partner of Sri Lanka for 75 years, envisions in the country: an agriculture sector that will create opportunities, alleviate poverty, promote sustainability, and ensure a more prosperous country. America's friendship, commitment, and support in Sri Lanka have achieved much over the past 75 years, and that is worth celebrating. We encourage your continued research that contributes to modernizing of Sri Lanka's agriculture sector and economic prosperity. I wish you all productive technical sessions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Mosel, for your kind acceptance of our invitation the last minute. And we sincerely hope we could develop much more fruitful collaborations between the USAID, the PGIA, and the University of Peradeniya, as we had a long time ago. Thank you very much.
Agricultural Research is the official journal of the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture. The journal is published in 4 issues every year. In order to launch the latest issue of the journal online, we invite Ms. Deborah Mosel. Professor Varshid Andeniya, the chief editor of the journal, will accompany Ms. Mosel. Thank you.
The Congress organizers would like to thank the chief guest, Ms. Deborah Mosel, Deputy Mission Director, USAID Mission for Sri Lanka and the Maldives, with a token of appreciation. We would like to invite Professor C.M.V. Dematavawa, Director, PGIA, to do the honors. Thank you. Over to you, Director, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, the organizing committee of the Congress this year have decided to invite Professor Gordon Gow, an internationally renowned scientist in the field of agricultural extension from the University of Alberta, Canada, as the keynote speaker of this year's Congress. Dr. Gow also has been helping us with the journal that we, highly indexed journal that we have, the volume that we launched today is in the editorial advisory board as well, and is going to be a honorary visiting professor for the Faculty of Agriculture as well. Please let me invite Dr. Chandana Jayawardena, the chairperson of the Board of Study in Agricultural Extension, to read the citation of Professor Gordon Gow, the director for the Center for Entrepreneurial Agricultural Technology.
Good morning, distinguished members of the audience. I have been bestowed with the honor of introducing the keynote speaker of the 35th Annual Congress of Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture. Professor Gordon Gow is a professor and a director of the Department of Media and Technology Studies at the University of Alberta in Canada. Between 2006 and 2020, he was a member of the Faculty of Extension, where he directed the graduate program in Communications and Technology. With the closure of the Faculty of Extension in 2020, he was relocated to the Faculty of Arts, where he is now cross-appointed with the Department of Sociology. Before joining the University of Alberta, Dr. Gao was a lecturer in the Department of Media and Communication at the London School of Economics. Dr. Gao's teaching and research focus on the social impact of digital media and technology. Over the course of his career, he has been involved with numerous projects to assist community organizations in developing digital literacy and leadership skills. For the past 10 years, he has been studying the impact of digital technologies on agricultural extension and education in the global South. Since 2016, Dr. Gao has led an international research collaboration with the Technology Stewardship Project. The project partners include the Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, the University of the West Indies, and the University of Guelph. His most recent publication is Digital Literacy and Agricultural Extension in the Global South. He is co-editor of a forthcoming book titled Digital Communication for Agricultural and Rural Development, Participatory Practices in a Post-COVID Age. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome our keynote speaker, Professor Gordon Gao.
Thank you. Good morning, distinguished members of the audience, students of the PGIA, and ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank the director of the PGIA and the Board of Study members and the PGIA coordinator, Professor Dendenieff, for inviting me to be the keynote speaker at this 35th Annual PGIA Congress. It's an honor for me to be here today. This actually marks my third time speaking at the Congress. I spoke in 2022 and 2018. This is my first keynote. Returning to Sri Lanka is a delightful experience for me. I had a 3-year hiatus during COVID. I wasn't able to come, but it's especially nice as we enter the cold, dark winter nights of Canada to come to this warm, lovely environment. I've been fortunate to make numerous visits to Sri Lanka over nearly 20 years. And this is a beautiful country. It has an intriguing cultural history. I'm always amazed every time I come. And remarkable and resilient people. Sri Lanka's reputation as the pearl of the Indian Ocean, I think, is well deserved. While preparing for this keynote, I also discovered that Sri Lanka is known as the land of serendipity, a term that, of course, describes an unplanned or fortunate discovery. And I'm particularly drawn to this idea because nearly 20 years ago, my journey to Sri Lanka was indeed an unplanned and fortunate discovery. However, the circumstances surrounding my initial visit were far from fortunate. At that time, I was living in London. I was a new faculty member at the London School of Economics. And it was 2004, and the Indian Ocean tsunami devastated the region. 250,000 people died. I believe about 45,000 died in Sri Lanka alone. And it was very tragic in Sri Lanka because there was up to almost an hour's worth of warning that could have been provided to the population. Shortly after that, I received a call from Professor Rohan Samarjiva at Learn Asia in Colombo. And he asked if I would participate in a Canadian-funded study to look at community-based hazard warning systems. And my previous research during my PhD had looked at the role of technology and warning systems on the west coast of Canada. So it was coincidental that I had this recent experience. And so he felt I had some expertise that I can contribute to the project that he was starting in Sri Lanka. However, as a new member of faculty, I was, of course, totally obsessed with my research and my publications. So actually, I initially said no to him. I said, no, I can't do this. I'm busy writing a book and so on. And he kept pestering me and said, no, I want you to come. I want you to come. So I did. I did come. In early 2005, I made my first visit. And little did I know that that decision would have a profound and lasting impact on my research and my career. I've been visiting regularly ever since then, working on various projects, most recently this tech stewardship project since 2016. Reflecting on that period, I realized I was fortunate, but I also learned a valuable lesson. When we encounter significant and unexpected situations, we should see them as opportunities to embrace serendipity and consider all the pathways that could lead us into the future. So let's explore that concept of future pathways. There are always multiple ways forward. I'd like to make this central to my remarks today. This year's conference theme is Gearing Agricultural Research Toward Economic Development. While this is undeniably an important topic, it prompts several questions for us to ponder. Firstly, what should be the priorities for agricultural research? And secondly, who determines these priorities? Whose voices are being considered and whose voices are being overlooked? Research is conducted to generate knowledge, but exactly what do we mean by knowledge? In institutions like the PGIA, scientific knowledge is highly regarded as the gold standard. However, this raises another important question. How can we effectively and ethically apply this knowledge? And additionally, how can we reconcile traditional grassroots knowledge with dominant scientific paradigms? And lastly, the issue is not whether the research contribute to whether research can contribute to economic development, but rather what type of development are we striving for and whose interests will it serve? When we consider all of these questions collectively, we could think about something called a recursive loop that the computer programmers talk about, a kind of first order thinking, a series of actions and processes that form a feedback loop, where we often find ourselves in this loop out of necessity, focusing on solving immediate problems without stepping back to see the bigger picture. In other words, first order thinking operates within the confines of the prevailing paradigm of the time. So let me provide an example from my area in ICTs to illustrate. I'll share a story from the history of mobile phones to illustrate this concept of first order thinking. In 1980, the American telecoms provider AT&T asked the respected management consultant McKinsey & Company to estimate how big a cellular market there would be by the year 2000. McKinsey forecast that 900,000 cell phones would be in operation by 2000. And the reality was that this was off by more than 2 orders of magnitude. The actual figure exceeded 109 million. I think that was it might have been just in the US alone. Today, it's estimated that the number of mobile devices will reach 18 billion by 2025. But the story is more than just about numbers. Mobile devices have changed how we communicate profoundly, connecting farmers and crop experts in real time. As one commentator put it, empowering farmers with real-time evidence-backed knowledge that they can use at their fingertips must have a great spin-off, not just for the economy, but also for the environment. The failure of AT&T to see this revolutionary potential of cell phones is a parable. It should remind us that the pathway to the future is not a linear line from the present. Sometimes, when faced with an important decision, we can benefit by opening our minds to consider multiple pathways to the future, some of which may seem far-fetched today, but we need to be strategic in our thinking. So if first order thinking is a tactical response to a situation, then second order thinking is strategic. It's about questioning our assumptions, considering the long-term consequences of today's decisions, and determining how they may interact with various environmental factors that will also be in flux. Think about climate change, of course. Strategic second-order thinking serves a dual purpose. It helps mitigate potential adverse consequences and, perhaps most crucially, improves our chances of success by enabling us to foresee and seize opportunities as they emerge in the environment. The shift towards agroecological principles and practices is a prime example of a movement towards second-order thinking. The FAO's 10 elements of agroecology align with the UN's Sustainable Development Goals, and the central set of those elements are farmer research networks. You can see here in the diagram. And if farmer research networks are at the heart of agroecology, we need to pay special attention to the role of digital technology in creating and sustaining those networks, those communities of practice. Information and communication technologies, or ICTs, are vital components of these communities of practice, and these exist across the entire value chain. The significance of ICTs is only going to grow in the future. But there are differing opinions on whether these digital technologies can pave the way for a sustainable digital future and align with the principles and practices of agroecology. For instance, proponents argue that ICTs are fundamental to things like precision farming. These methods depend on digital tools to assist farmers in managing soil and crop health, reducing chemical usage, optimizing inputs, and providing real-time, location-specific information and recommendations. Additionally, digital tools like social media can enhance market access, improve connections between producers and consumers, and facilitate knowledge exchange. On the other hand, some critics contend that precision technologies prioritize productivity over ecological considerations. Critics will say that this can perpetuate monocultures in a paradoxical way, and in fact lead to increased chemical use rather than reduction in it. And moreover, critics will argue that digital technologies tend to concentrate power in large monopoly providers that collect data and insights for profit. These critics are concerned about the risk of an unintended lock-in when using precision agriculture, where farmers may become increasingly reliant on ag tech solutions that are designed without a complete understanding of the local context in which they're being applied. They argue in particular that high-tech digital tools for agriculture are not readily adaptable for small-scale farms. But it's important to recognize that solutions backed by these big tech companies are part of the solution. They are part of the way forward. But there are also other pathways we need to look at. Crucially, we must recognize the existence of various transitions to the future. These pathways, multiple pathways, they can coexist, they can overlap, they can work together, and sometimes they can compete with each other. We must acknowledge that technologies are not universal, and we already learned this lesson from the Green Revolution, but they evolve with and they're embedded in different contexts in terms of socioeconomic, cultural, and political realities. Second-order thinking plays a vital role in shaping the research agenda for the digital transformation of agriculture. Appreciating the context within which we're applying these digital technologies is part of that second-order approach. We need to frame our research and development agenda with three key questions. What values underlie the design and development of these technologies? What are the intended business models and economic development goals supported by these technologies? And what type of socioeconomic development are we aiming for? In the ongoing debate about the future of digital agriculture, there are also some specific normative questions that also come to the forefront. Are we willing to replace human labor with digital technologies, potentially leading to de-skilling and job displacement in the agriculture sector? Or should we take measures to ensure that these digital tools improve working conditions and livelihoods for all? Do we want to devalue local knowledge and traditional practices that play such a significant role in sustainable development? Or should we explore ways for digital tools to facilitate a dialogue between scientific experts and those with the grassroots knowledge while leveraging the strengths of each approach? Are we comfortable with increasing dependence on big tech companies that extract valuable data for their profit? Or should we focus on building local innovation capacity that promote community governance of digital systems and the data that they generate? There are multiple potential pathways forward. While there are multiple potential pathways forward, a central question arises regarding the extent to which inclusive innovation and growth will be a priority within the digital agriculture sector. Inclusive growth entails enhancing all individuals' well-being, particularly those historically marginalized. Achieving inclusive growth is intricately linked to inclusive innovation. Innovation may involve incremental improvements to existing processes, or sometimes it's a disruptive shift that changes business operations drastically. But in all cases, it entails a set of microprocesses that drive the adoption of new practices when the right conditions are met. Inclusive innovation focuses on eliminating barriers that prevent disenfranchised individuals and communities from participating in those microprocesses that lead to improved business practices and that will ultimately better serve them. As depicted in this figure, government regulations, access to technology, professional mindset, and human capital set the stage for the enablers of inclusive innovation. And the goal is inclusive development and inclusive growth, growing together. A recent report on the digital transformation of agriculture in Latin America and the Caribbean outlines several action points for more inclusive innovation agenda in digital agriculture research. The initial step involves broadening the adoption of affordable tools, digital tools for family farming, particularly in applications geared towards enhancing productivity. Broadening the adoption of these tools. Going beyond mere access, however, there's a need to engage farmers and farming communities in the design of these tools, to invite them into a collective discussion about how these tools can, should, and will be used in those local communities. This also encompasses the establishment of trustworthy online communities of practice that can police misinformation and retain control over valuable sources of data generated by the community. Efforts should be made to actively involve women producers, young individuals, and small family farmers in discussions about digital technology. Another crucial step entails researching inclusive business models to facilitate more equitable relationships between small-scale producers or suppliers and small, medium, and large agribusinesses. Building bridges, bringing those groups together. So what steps are required to establish a research agenda that contributes to a path toward inclusive digital agriculture and a future for everybody? How do we cultivate a pathway that empowers producer families and their communities, focusing on suitable, sustainable technology and data sovereignty? I'm delighted to share that the PGIA has already begun playing a significant role in this endeavor with its short course on ICT stewardship. I take great pride in being a partner in the technology stewardship project with the PGIA, collaborating with our counterparts from the Faculty of Food and Agriculture at the University of the West Indies and the Program in Capacity Development and Extension at the University of Guelph. The Tech Stewardship Project commenced in 2012 with an exploratory phase, eventually leading to our first cohort of tech stewards in 2016. We collaborate closely with We collaborated closely with the Department of Export Agriculture, and since then we've been engaged with the Department of Agriculture, the Tea Research Institute, the Coconut Cultivation Board, and many others. Today we've trained over 120 extension and advisory services personnel, including cohorts from both Sri Lanka and the Caribbean, shifting to online training in 2022 and 2023. And yesterday, we gathered with a group of extension and advisory professionals from various organizations here in Sri Lanka to celebrate their efforts for promoting inclusive innovation through the training they received in our short course in technology stewardship. The training program is built on a community of practice approach. It upholds 4 fundamental principles for adoption of digital technology. The most crucial being vision before technology. We introduce methods that are grounded in second-order thinking to assist communities in envisioning their desired future. And then we explore together how ICTs contribute to that vision in equitable and sustainable ways. And while we continually learn and improve our course and our methods, this partnership project has made remarkable progress in developing leadership training that can contribute to the ambitious goal of fostering inclusive digital agriculture in Sri Lanka and indeed in the Caribbean as well. The challenge with ICTs is not just to provide access, but to provide the means with which individuals and their communities can find ways of making effective use of these technologies for productive wealth creating and transactional as well as other processes. We envision a future where extension education incorporates ICT stewardship training as part of its regular curriculum. In this future, we see tech stewards playing a new and vital role as social intermediaries, paving the way for a more equitable and inclusive digital agriculture future. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, as we reflect on the pathways forward toward the future of agriculture research, it becomes evident that our choices and decisions today will shape the destiny and the well-being of communities here and indeed around the world. We must recognize that there are multiple pathways, each with its unique potential and unique challenges. The debate around the role of information and communication technologies in agriculture is ongoing, with proponents advocating for precision farming and digital tools to revolutionize the sector, while critics caution against further ecological degradation and concentration of power in the hands of a few. In this dynamic landscape, research institutions like the PGIA are pivotal. We must frame our research agendas with deep understanding of the values behind the technologies, the business models they support, and the socioeconomic development they aim to achieve. We must consider the potential consequences of replacing human labor with digital tools and the risk of sidelining local knowledge and traditional practices. At the same time, we must find ways to foster innovation and grant communities greater control over their digital technologies and their data. The PGIA has taken significant steps in this direction through projects like the Technology Stewardship Program, which empowers individuals to make informed choices about digital technology while building capacity for inclusive innovation. It's a community-based approach that recognizes the importance of critical digital literacy. In the end, the future of agriculture is not a single linear path from the present, but a complex web of serendipitous possibilities. Just like my own decision nearly 20 years ago would eventually bring me here in front of you today, our collective decisions, research, and the values we embed in them will determine our path for the next 20 years. As a final note, I want to direct my remarks to the PGIA students and emphasize the significance of your role in the digital transformation of agriculture. You are the generation that will forge the path to the future. You are the digital natives, growing up in a world of the internet, social media, ChatGPT. Many of you have a deep passion for digital technology, likely spending a significant part of your day online. You understand how to use this technology. You possess the energy, the vitality that's going to be needed to leverage its potential. This is a tremendous opportunity, but it comes with great responsibility. Remember, digital technology on its own cannot solve our problems. As you find yourselves spending more time immersed in this digital world, it's crucial to ensure that you also dedicate time to daily interactions with the natural environment around you. As the Indigenous elders from my home remind us, we need to learn from the land. The earth does not belong to us, we belong to the earth. Thank you.
Professor Gordon Gow, we thank you for your felicitous speech.
The Congress organizers would like to thank the keynote speaker, Professor Gordon Gow, Acting Director of the Media and Technology Studies Unit, University of Alberta, with a token of appreciation. We would like to invite Professor C.M.B. Demetawaba, Director, PGIA, to do the honors.
Thank you. Hantanescence, PGIA Congress in brief, is the recent addition to the PGIA Congress. Hantanescence provides the greatest venue to postgraduate students to share their research findings with general public, farming community, and the policymakers.
Now, we would like to invite Professor Teras Madhujit, the Deputy Vice Chancellor, University of Peradeniya, to launch the third volume of the Hantanescence PGIA Congress in brief. We invite Dr. L.M. Rankoth, the editor of Hantanescence, to do the honors. Thank you. Now we would like to take you through the research highlights of the 35th Annual Congress. Please sit back and enjoy the video.
th Annual Congress 2023, Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, University of Peradeniya. The Postgraduate Institute of Agriculture, PGIA, is a center of excellence for postgraduate higher educational sciences in Sri Lanka. The PGIA Congress is an annual event where postgraduate students can present, discuss, and disseminate their scholarly research findings to a wider scientific community. Welcome to 35th PGIA Annual Congress 2023, Greening Agriculture Research Towards Economic Development, where innovation meets insight. This year, the Congress has organized the research under 7 thematic areas.
Nutritional and functional properties of food and feed. Here, experts unravel the secrets of essential nutrients, creating healthier food and feed options. From animal nutrition to how essential nutrients in food impact our health and well-being. Witness the transformative power of understanding what we consume.
Agronomic interventions for better crop production. Experience the synergy of traditional wisdom and modern technology, which are revolutionizing agriculture and ensuring higher yields and food security for local communities.
agricultural inputs for sustainable crop production. Witness the rise of eco-friendly fertilizers and fertilizer management systems in different crops.
Technological solutions for efficient resource management. Discover the world of smart farming, where data-driven decisions and cutting-edge technologies optimize resource utilization.
Spatial analysis and modeling in agriculture, GIS maps, and intricate computer models for agriculture and related sciences. These tools empower farmers, ensuring optimal resource allocation and environmentally responsible agricultural practices.
Society and Information Technology Food System. Discover how digital advancements connect communities, facilitate transparent supply chains, and empower consumers.
PGIA Congress Poster Session, highlighting agricultural inputs and services. Engage with vibrant 8 posters showcasing innovative ideas, services, and solutions.
Join us at the PGIA Annual Congress, where ideas flourish into practical solutions. The research findings presented will play a pivotal role in shaping a green agricultural landscape, fostering sustainable economic development in Sri Lanka and beyond.
Thank you. We have now reached the end of the inaugural session. We wish to make a few announcements.
Technical sessions of the PGIA Congress will begin now. There will be 3 parallel sessions now and 3 parallel sessions after lunch. For the online participants, please use the relevant Zoom links that have been already sent through emails to log in to the preferred technical session.
You can join the poster session of the Congress during the lunch break.
All the presenters and the registered students, please collect the dockets from the registration table.
We invite all the members of the organizing committee for a group photograph. Wish you all a very productive session. Thank you.
Thank you. Your kind attention, please. Refreshments are served outside near the new building. Refreshments are served outside near the new building. Thank you.